is a journey that counts at the end of the day in sports as indeed in life. And what a journey these two teams have had in this ICC Champions Trophy. Of course, we're talking about India and New Zealand, and we all are excited to watch that game unfold in Dubai. Welcome to the ICC Champions Trophy special with the Free Press Journal Sports Desk. My name is Pratham, and we are going to dissect, we are going to talk about and discuss the big game, the big final between India and New Zealand. Joining me now, our panel, Pankaj Athavale, the coach, the commentator, the radio jockey, the author, Haridev, who is our sports editor, the Free Press Journal, and Suraj Alwa, our very own expert from the Free Press Journal as well. Join me now. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for this final, mega final, should I say. India and New Zealand. India को तो पता था थोड़ा सा कि जाएंगे नहीं जाएंगे 90% the way this tournament was unfolding. New Zealand, is that a surprise there, Haridev?
Pratham, absolutely not. I mean, I remember we were discussing a little bit about this, before the show started. New Zealand, obviously they are the kind of team which, when it comes to the major ICC tournaments, the major ICC marquee events, they have this ability. They are a tournament team. They are a team which plays as a unit, which is, always rising above their, punching above their weight, you can say. And that's what they've always been doing. I mean, obviously, they don't have very many ICC titles to show, as compared to the likes of, say, Australia or India or the other major teams, that is. But New Zealand are a team that can always make it to the ICC knockouts, into the ICC finals, because they've had, especially in the last, I would say 5-6 years, they've had that potential. And I don't see it as a surprise as such, because, and Australia also this time around, obviously they're a bit of a depleted squad, missing some of the big names like Mitchell Stark and Cummins and Hazelwood. So New Zealand were expected to, make it to the knockouts. And then, once you make it to the knockouts, say you make it to the semi-finals, it's anybody's game. So I'm not surprised that New Zealand is in the final, and I knew that at the back of my mind that India might run into New Zealand in the final, if not Australia or South Africa. So that is exactly what's happened now.
Pankaj, high voltage game, India, New Zealand, or you would have anticipated India, Australia or India, South Africa there, honestly?
Probably South Africa looked good, and that they normally do that. Haridev will agree with me because, South Africa looked so good till the knockout stage and suddenly they kind of fizz out because they were annihilated by New Zealand, So India, New Zealand is what roughly I was looking at. New Zealand definitely was my pick for the final as one of the teams. But, what you can see is the two best teams have actually come up to the finals, and that is the best part about this Champions Trophy.
Suraj, हमने थोड़ा सा जोक किया था, tongue firmly planted in my cheek. साउथ अफ्रीका होती तो मजा आ जाता क्योंकि फिर तय हो जाता कि कौन किसको जीतना है.
ये प्रथम बात ऐसी है कि that would have again साउथ अफ्रीका का एक रिवेंज मैच होता, ग्रज मैच होता. Of course they would have loved to beat India and win the trophy. तो वो भी देखने में इंटरेस्टिंग होता because टूर्नामेंट में जिस हिसाब से they play, I was hoping कि maybe South Africa would make it, but again New Zealand, I'm not at all surprised, but yeah, it should be a tough game actually. But मैं थोड़ा worried हूँ इंडिया के लिए because Kiwis are a very different opponent in the knockouts. So yes,
formidable force. Would you say that? Of course, defeated once against India, but there is a possibility of growing, immune to that force that Indian side is. They have tasted that defeat, and sometimes you learn key lessons out of your defeat. And therefore, do you think this side of the Kiwis is going to be all force and they're going to look more formidable than they did in the previous contest? Pankaj?
It's going to be interesting, and I agree with Suraj because I suddenly, when New Zealand won that match against South Africa, my immediate reference went back 25 years back in 2000 when that final was there. Exactly similar situations. We all were like, "Arey, India, khatam," And then someone called Chris Gaines really took off, and it was a big heartbreak. Remember those days? That tournament was a knockout right from the first match, and then now it's of course a knockout in the semi-finals and finals. But what happens is, India did win against New Zealand, but there also there was a bit of a hiccup. The Indian bowlers did the trick. Otherwise, it would have been a very interesting match. And with New Zealand losing that match, they have a very good opportunity to kind of get all their calculations right. My big worry is the Indian middle order or the Indian top five. Because if India has to win, they will win only because of their bowling strength, which is the four spinners and the combo of Shami and Hardik. I think that is the only thing that can save India. Because New Zealand, I'll tell you, just look at that lineup. Each and every one is a dangerous customer. They may not work on that particularly. That's a different story. But New Zealand, a very, very difficult side this time.
But also advantage India. We must talk about positives as well. I mean, we're talking about the concerns and the apprehensions that we have in our head, which constantly analyzes and tries to decode. But of course, India have played all their games in Dubai, as opposed to the Kiwis. You have to adapt now. Coming from Pakistan to Dubai, of course, they have got their fair chances to adapt to the situations there and the pitches there. But India, having won all the matches, also defeated New Zealand. Upper hand there for India, Haridev?
Pratham, as you said, Dubai, playing in Dubai, all of your games in Dubai is a big advantage for India, no doubt. And what it does give India, what it helps India with is also the condition of the tracks. The pitches being basically they're tired tracks, slow and tired tracks. And with India having a spin-heavy attack, bowling attack. See, I mean, Pankaj mentioned about the batting. The middle order. Of course, it is very important, no doubt about that. But if you ask me where the match is going to be won and lost, the battle between Varun Chakravarti and the New Zealand middle order and the New Zealand batters, it's going to be the most critical aspect of the game.
Yes.
If
Yes.
Varun can really get through, those middle order batsmen of the New Zealand team, that's going to really upset their plans because, they're also going to be watchful. I don't know if you saw, I mean, there were some comments from the New Zealand coach, Gary Stead, yesterday. He mentioned about how that is going to be very crucial for them. So they're also, a bit wary about Varun, going into the final. So I think, and it's not just Varun, I mean, if they focus too much on Varun, they're going to miss out on Jadeja. They're going to miss out on Aksar. They're going to miss out on Kuldeep. So it's basically a four-pronged spin attack. This is, and with the slow tracks that you get in Dubai, I think the advantage is with India. But for that, Indian batsmen, as Pankaj also mentioned, will have to put up a decent score, if not a great score, and then let the bowlers take it from there, the spinners especially. So it's not going to be easy for New Zealand. I'll tell you one thing. New Zealand are a dangerous side, no doubt. They have been India's bogey team in ICC tournaments, in ICC finals, in ICC knockouts. But this is going to be very challenging for them also. Because yesterday, the other day, they won the semi-final against South Africa in Lahore in Gaddafi Stadium. But that's a totally different track. You can't put up 360 here in Dubai. No way, no chance. So you got to see what is the target you want to set if you're batting first. I think 260, 270 would be good for either team if they bat first. But New Zealand will be really stretched in this. I think it's advantage India. It's India's trophy to lose. India will have to play really badly to lose here. I think it's advantage India. That's what I feel personally.
Quite an unusual discussion, and I love unusual discussions because when they start on the note of bowling side as opposed to the batting side, you got to know that this discussion is going in the right direction. Because we always talk about the strength of India's batting and how well Virat and Rohit Sharma bat well up in the order, and then Virat anchors the innings, taking the game deeper. But of course, we started this on the bowling note, which is a fair discussion. Suraj?
Yes, absolutely. Going into the side Haridev said, India, have to play badly to lose the tournament. But the way the Indian batters and bowlers have performed has been really excellent. But I am a little bit worried about Rohit's form for that matter because even though Rohit is giving an explosive start at the top, but he has not played a huge innings. And in a match like this, I'm hoping he gets a big score because India definitely needs to put in huge total on the board to defend. Like Haridev said, the conditions will be different. May assist the spinners. So at least Rohit scoring big at the top would set a great platform for other batsmen to take advantage of and maybe build a huge score for bowlers to defend against a good unit like New Zealand. And just to add on that, even I'm looking at New Zealand's batting, especially Rachin Ravindran. I think He's tailor-made for ICC tournaments. He loves
Yeah.
ICC tournaments. He's already have 2 centuries in the tournament. So it should be a great contest to watch, and it will be interesting to see how our Indian bowlers are gonna, defend the total. Against especially when the likes of Ravindran and Kane Williamson are like in such a great touch.
Also, the fact that everybody is talking, of course, about Virat Kohli and the kind of form he is in right now, two back-to-back wins, two back-to-back major innings on his part as well. But are we discussing Rohit Sharma enough as well? Is his approach right? Has his approach been right? And if he's been right in his own unique way, because he needs to get that early start bang on. Once that happens, it starts mounting pressure on the opponent straight away. Do you think, is he going to tweak his craft? Is he going to tweak his game, or do you think he's going to stick to what he's been doing so far? Pankaj?
See, Pratham, the problem with Rohit for the last 2 years, in fact, after the ODI World Cup or since then, is that I don't see him playing 50 overs throughout. So those days are gone when he would anchor and be the. See, if you are an opener, you're supposed to do that. But then Rohit is in the final stages of his career, and I feel sometimes that he is out of a lot of options. He's out of a lot of weapons because the situation that he's in right now, he will give you those 30, 40s and then probably not last long. And that is a major concern because, in a big final, when you have a team India where Shubman is also not in that great form, your first 2 wickets, the opponents, see, just think about New Zealand. They will also be listening to this and they'll also be thinking about what we are discussing. They'll say, okay, first 2 wickets, we are sure, 40, 50 for 2, we are there. And now in a final, if they come up, and what I read, if Haridev can also help us, Matt Henry probably is not fully fit. He may play, he may not play. That's the update I've got.
Yeah.
But,
Matt Henry is
right?
doubtful. Yes.
Yeah,
He's doubtful.
right,
Yes.
that's advantage for India because Matt Henry is a very dangerous customer against India. He likes that Indian top order and he likes to get those wickets. So in this case, if I'm talking from a New Zealand perspective, in terms of Rohit Sharma, first 2 wickets under 60, 70 is bang on. So here we go. Now what next? So this is going to be a very strategic point, and I don't see Rohit having a lot of options. So India are going to be 2 down, 70 or something like that, or 1 down at least. Then what? That's going to be an interesting scenario tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I mean, even we are celebrating, we are on the cusp of celebrations, even before the match starts, even before the big final starts. Still, the haunting memories of the World Cup still linger. The reason being that because the first 2 players, that is Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, played well, and because our middle order was not exposed back in the day to the kind of attack they should have been used to, that's not the case in this Champions Trophy. Middle order is showing their strength, their prowess. So in that sense, this is a different side altogether. Would you agree with that assessment, Haridev?
Absolutely, Pratham. Pratham, the if you ask me, the major takeaway for as far as India's batting is concerned in the Champions Trophy here is the great form that Shreyas Iyer is in. And not just Shreyas Iyer. I mean, if you look at Hardik Pandya, you look at KL Rahul, all of them have been gradually coming into form, progressively throughout the tournament. And this is when the chips are down. When you lose Rohit early, you lose Shubman Gill early, and let's say if Kohli is getting out early, there is no panic. The most important thing here is there is no panic. Even in matches where we are 30 for 3, they take a bit of time, but you will have one release shot from Shreyas Iyer at a certain stage, and from there on, he's going to take the game away from the opposition. He's going to take the game to the opposition. So you have players in the middle order like Shreyas Iyer, like Rahul, like Pandya, who can switch gears anytime they want to, and then they can they can up the ante and they can get the scoreboard ticking and going. And once they are into the last 10, 15 overs, they can really, take the game away from the opposition. So you have players like that. So you have a very strong middle order. And let me tell you, India has a very deep batting lineup now. We bat all the way up to number 8. You have someone like Jadeja coming at 7, and you have that kind of depth here. And I'm talking about proper quality batsmen. It's not like back in the 90s when we had players who could barely bat. I'm talking about proper batsmen at number 7, number 8. And you know for a fact that there will be a strong fight from the lower order, even if there is a collapse, at the top. So although you don't want that to happen, Mr. Gavaskar actually made a statement yesterday about how he would like Rohit to go big in the final. Not just get the start, but keep it going until say the 30th or 35th over. That is what ideally even I would like, but I'm not sure if that will happen, because of the way Rohit bats. Obviously
Yes.
that's the template that he's set for himself, and that is working for India also. And it's working for India because you have a middle order which can be relied upon. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they should change the way they play. I think Rohit should continue to play the way he is. And of course, if he doesn't get out, it's an added bonus for India, because then the opposition is really out of the game. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. Suraj, also the fact that cricket should not be limited and should not be demarcated just as batting versus bowling or batting and bowling. It is also, how you feel, the passion. Sometimes a batsman bowler can come in handy, can pick up a wicket or two and, shift the momentum of the game suddenly. So in that sense, also these two sides are highly promising because the lines are blurred. It's not clear-cut batting and bowling, but also the merging of the talents in between the lines that we cannot put our fingers on. Suraj?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, Pratham. Both are a top level side. Both have quality players. Both have a best bowling and batting lineups as well. But I feel maybe that's my personal opinion. The fielding would definitely make a difference because New Zealand are flying. We have seen Glenn Phillips, we have seen Kane Williamson taking some mind-blowing catches, some unbelievable catches. So definitely, fielding would make the difference between the two sides because this is where the runs are gonna matter a lot. Because the players are putting 100% to stop runs, and there's some electric catches definitely will lift the spirits of the side, and also this should definitely be a very very good contest to watch.
Pankaj, just to extend that comment, whatever Suraj said just now, कभी कभार कैप्टन आपके हाथ में बॉल थमा देता है और आप मैजिक सा कर जाते हो. There are moments when exactly the momentum is not swinging your way, not shifting your way, and वहां पर कोई से ऐसे delicate moments होते हैं जहां पर अचानक से एक बैट्समैन बॉलर आता है और वो कुछ अलग कर जाता है. तो उस लिहाज से from that perspective alone, these squads, these two teams are very, very interesting, are they not?
Yes, and Pratham, it's very difficult to choose from both. Even if you look at fielding, of course, New Zealand's fielding has been much more, exciting. India has dropped a few here and there. So probably in such a crunch match in a final, when you have
Absolutely. Can we take a look at the New Zealand squad, therefore, because there are really interesting names there. And we, of course, have our own favorites. But looking at the New Zealand side, are there any surprises, people who have shown their potential more than anticipated or expected as far as the ICC Champions Trophy 2025 goes? Are there favorites there? Haridev?
Pratham, I mean, when I look at that New Zealand squad, just adding to what Suraj was talking about, the fielding aspect, I mean, I can't emphasize more on how crucial that particular, aspect is going to be in this match, because, a team like New Zealand, I mean, they can make a big difference to the opposition's total, just the way they feel. They're the number one fielding side in the world. They have that ability to convert a potential boundary into a dismissal. So with the kind of world class fielding ability which they have, you talk about Glenn Phillips, you talk about Kane Williamson, you talk about Daryl Mitchell, all of them. I mean, I'm just giving you a few names. Yeah, I mean, so you have these players who are not just valuable players in terms of batting or bowling or all-round ability, but they are excellent fielders. I think a big chunk of the New Zealand team, they are excellent fielders, and that would make a difference. You take a look at Tom Latham, for instance. He has that ability. So does Mark Chapman or Michael Bracewell. All of them have these. They're basically players with multiple skills. So that's the thing with New Zealand always. They've always had these players with who are utility players. They're not very big, flamboyant star players the way we perceive in India, but they have the ability to actually make a difference on the field, and that's going to be on display on Sunday. And India will have to, I think the Indian batsmen will have to understand that the runs are not going to be easy, not just because of the pitch and the conditions, but also the opposition you're playing against and the fielding side, the kind of fielding side they are. That's going to make a big difference on Sunday.
Suraj, also the fact that these are not big games when it comes to batting. These are not 300 plus scores that we are looking at. So already when you have a shot total around 260, and then with fabulous fielding, fantastic efforts in the field, if you manage to save 20, 30 odd runs by showing your fielding prowess alone, that makes a huge difference. And this side, this New Zealand side, of course, they are more athletic than the Indian squad. But of course, Indian squad has also evolved in terms of fielding in the past 10, 15 years. So वहां पर बहुत ही ज्यादा ये significant होगा कि आप कितने रन बचा सकते हो. So it's not just the batting or bowling, but also your skills in the field as a fielder is going to make a huge difference. Suraj?
It is definitely going to make a huge difference, Pratham. Like you just mentioned, in fact, what Haridev said, that the New Zealand players have the multiple skill sets, so that is why they are really, really a good team to beat. Obviously, India have had a few slip-ups. They have, dropped catches. These happens in matches, but now we are talking about the big ICC final here, Champions Trophy final. So definitely, the Indians have to ensure that whatever chances, even the 50-50 chances coming in their way, should be converted into a proper catch or maybe stopping those runs. Because these catches and stopping those runs are going to be crucial, especially against New Zealand, because they are a kind of team, where even if they lose one wicket, doesn't matter. But if you drop a catch of a certain player, he might go on to make a big score as well. So giving them a lifeline could prove to be fatal for Team India is what I feel. So yes, fielding is gonna play a huge role in this final between India and New Zealand.
How important is that winning streak that we were talking about, Pankaj, all along in all these matches in this edition? Of course, India has not broken that streak, that winning streak, so to speak. So entering the final without losing a single game, as opposed to New Zealand playing against India, having lost one game already, or do you think it's a fresh battle every single time? I can't hear you. Suddenly, can you hear me? Is Pankaj audible to everyone?
No,
I
no,
can't
no,
hear you,
he's
Pankaj.
not. No, I can't hear Pankaj.
Yeah. No, we
No,
can't
even
hear
I
you.
can't.
This is not a glitch. No, not yet. Are we talking in sign language as a word? No, Pankaj, you're not audible. Anyway, till then, you can continue. Yeah, with your opinion. Pankaj, please check your
Yeah,
system around. We need your opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What was the point? What were you? What was the question, Pratham? If you could repeat, please.
The question was entering this into the final. Of course, New Zealand have already seen that defeat against India, with whom they are playing this final, as opposed to India, who have not broken the winning streak, so to speak. So advantage India, of course, but at the same time, New Zealand now have read Team India, and therefore they are more dangerous. Or do you think India have the pluses in their kitty?
See, obviously, as you mentioned, it does, I think when you experience defeat, you start looking for answers. You start, looking where you went wrong. Where are the chinks in your armor? You try to analyze it from that point of view. I think New Zealand, and especially a side like New Zealand, they have that sort of ability to, rectify their mistakes and, come back stronger. But I don't see that as a drawback for India, to be very frank, Pratham, with given all the factors that we have been discussing, be it the conditions, be it the pitches, be it the way India has been playing. I think, I'll tell you, I'll make a very interesting point here. India has not played a perfect game in this Champions Trophy yet. And Gautam Gambhir, a day or two back, he clearly mentioned we are yet to play our perfect game. We've been struggling. Although as analysts and experts, we've been saying that India are playing well. The internal thought process within the team management is that they are yet to play their perfect game. So there are areas where India is yet to come into its own. So they've not played the perfect game yet. And you're still in the final of the ICC Champions Trophy, so that's a tribute to the depth of this Indian team.
Hope and keeping my fingers crossed that they have reserved that game for today.
Yeah, let's hope for that. Let's hope for the best. But yeah, I don't see.
Say something.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So no, what I was saying is that the problem with India is that India playing in the final and India playing in the tournament are slightly two different things, and it has been a consistent thing. 2017, I was there in England. We all were there, doing what happened. We saw 2023, we do really very well till the finals, and then in the finals something goes wrong. So that is the only kind of thing that everyone should be worried about, including India. I mean, otherwise, and as Haridev also mentioned, see, even Shreyas Iyer, look at him. He plays so confidently well till 45-50, and then suddenly he just loses the fizz. He cannot do that now. He's not a youngster or newcomer anymore. KL Rahul, for that matter, has been the most mature overall. And it's going to be interesting because if Virat Kohli goes down with Glenn Phillips flying around here and there, Rohit Shubman, middle order is there. But it's going to be a very, very exciting game. The best part is it's going to go down the wire. Both the teams are really going to take it ahead. And that's the best part about the finals.
In terms of predictability, Vita, you're best with that, Pankaj. In terms of numbers, is it everybody saying 50-50? But somewhere, some corner in your heart, which is, still pulsating for Team India, going dhak-dhak for Team India, do you say 60-40 or is it still 50-50?
No, I, unfortunately, being a commentator, I'll try to be neutral. I think it is 51-49 New Zealand.
Oh, okay. That's a big statement. Big statement, Pankaj. 51-49.
Got the headline for our live already. Haridev, for you, how do the numbers stand?
I'm not going to give you any drama, Pratham. I would say 60-40. I would say 60-40 India. 60-40 in India's favor.
Okay.
60-40. Yeah, that's a good tally there. For you, Suraj?
50.
50-50 again. So these are the key points on the screen. You can read that, and you can see Matt, the highest wicket taker in the tournament with 10 wickets, will be a key factor, key player to look at. And of course, you have Varun Chakravarti, whose action is very, very difficult to read, especially for the player who do not belong to the subcontinents. Could be the key player in the final game as well, because he had picked up 5 wickets in the group stage match against the Kiwis. So these players to look at. Yeah, Pankaj?
Yeah, definitely. See, for India, Varun Chakravarti is very important. And if Kuldeep comes to the party, he has not been in the best of form. If Kuldeep comes to the party, it's going to be a really game-set match. But for New Zealand, I think Will Young has played well. But I think against India, they should. I don't know whether they'll use it or not. Devon Conway is someone who can, easily fit in the middle order or the top order for New Zealand. And I think Michael Bracewell hasn't yet delivered for New Zealand apart from that initial knock. So if these two guys come to the party, and that's why 51-49 is what I'm trying to say.
Rohit Sharma start at the top of the order. We discussed that already. The battle between Indian batters and New Zealand spinners in the middle overs is enticing. The drama that is happening and the perfect game that Haridev was talking about, would that come into play now, Haridev?
Well, I think Pratham, as far as Indian batsmen are concerned, player, I'll just give you a perspective. Indian spinners and New Zealand spinners. I mean, of course, it's going to be a spin friendly track, as we would expect in Dubai. But I would say the quality of the Indian spinners are, it's far better than what New Zealand have. Of course, Santner is somebody who is effective and who can deliver the goods for New Zealand. But I don't see Indian batsmen having too many problems as far as New Zealand spinners are concerned. As long as you're playing to your potential and you're playing the way you normally play. So I don't see that being much of a problem. I think India will have to play. See, one thing I would say here is that India should not change the way they have been playing. Because I'll tell you why I'm saying this. The reason I'm saying this is if you remember the 2023 ODI World Cup final, we won 10 games in a row. We were on a roll, absolute roll. And then you go into the final, the grandest of stages, and then you're playing, there is some kind of anxiety and fear and, ultra cautiousness with which you're playing in the final. That shouldn't happen. See, this is the thing, India is the most followed team in the world, Indian cricket team, There is a lot of pressure, there is a lot of eyeballs, there is a lot of, hype and, hysteria around the team. But you just have to take that away when you're playing the game, playing a big final, and play the way you have been playing all the matches, all the league matches. Just look at it from that perspective, and then I don't think we should have any problems. I think, but it's easier said than done. But if they can do that, India are going to win the game. I mean, I don't see any problem with that. Yeah.
With New Zealand aiming for the second title, of course, the Champions Trophy, and India looking at the third straight away. They shared one in 2013 with Sri Lanka. So in that regard, of course, it's going to be a high voltage game. How crucial, how significant, therefore, the toss is going to be given the conditions, given the intensity, given the stature of this game. Of course, it's the final. So उस लिहाज से टॉस कितना मायने रखेगा, कितना इम्पोर्टेंट होगा, सूरज?
प्रथम टॉस बहुत मायने रखेगा. It will be interesting to watch whether India will continue to lose the toss, or maybe this time around luck might favor the Indians and Rohit Sharma finally wins the toss. I mean, see, to be honest, again, what I would like to say is everything comes down to the pitch. Okay. They used a fresh pitch for the India versus Australia match. So right now we don't know what kind of surface we are expecting tomorrow for the final. So definitely the toss is going to be crucial. But again, it will come down all about the pitch. What kind of surface is going to be prepared, and according to that, the captains would want to make the changes, or maybe decide what to do, whether to bat first or bowl first.
And of course, the top three players from each side. Who are your favorite players from both the squads? We have our own list, of course. Varun Chakravarti, for the reason that are quite obvious. Virat Kohli, the kind of form he is, the master chaser that he is. Shreyas Iyer, the swag, the style, and coming into his own, especially this Champions Trophy goes. From New Zealand side, of course, Matt, we discussed Rachin Ravindra, prominent name there, and Kane Williamson, who is always in tune when it comes to, showing his prowess against the Indian side. So who are your personal favorites? Are there names or two that you want to add or you want to omit, Pankaj?
The names in the Indian side look pretty good. I mean, definitely. No doubt about it. As far as New Zealand is concerned, if Matt Henry doesn't play, Rachin Ravindra, Kane Williamson definitely on my list. Probably, maybe a Latham or maybe Tom Latham instead of Matt Henry if he doesn't play.
Are they for you?
Pratham, for me, I think India, I would add Shubman Gill. I mean, don't be surprised if Shubman Gill plays a big innings tomorrow. I have a funny feeling he might. And if he does, that's going to be great for us. So he's going to be a key player for me. I mean, the three players you've mentioned are great. I mean, Varun, Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer, obviously all key players. But I think Shubman Gill or Rohit Sharma, one of them might play a big innings tomorrow. And they're going to be crucial for our chances tomorrow. From New Zealand side, yes, Matt Henry is doubtful. I'm not sure he will play. Yes, but Rachin Ravindra, Kane Williamson, I would say Glenn Phillips, very is one of the X factor players for New Zealand. If you ask me, Glenn Phillips,
Yeah.
tremendous batting ability, outstanding fielding ability. I mean, he's one of their key players actually. So Glenn Phillips and also Daryl Mitchell, I would say. So all of these
Suraj,
players.
we need
Yeah.
your names.
Pratham, I would the three players in the Indian list. I'll stick with them. New Zealand, yes, Rachin Ravindran, Kane Williamson, Matt Henry, like they said, is doubtful. And but I would like to go with the choices that even Haridev made, like Daryl Mitchell for that factor. He has the knack of changing games, and against India, we have seen him play some crucial knocks. So yes, he's one of the guys that I would like to add in case Matt Henry doesn't play tomorrow.
Yeah, and of course, you do not enter the final without having the necessary skill set, without having the necessary momentum. And the kind of momentum these two teams have shown has always been remarkable. And we're looking forward to this one. लेकिन अब तो आदत सी है हमको पंकज जी के साथ सुनने के लिए कि भाई एक एडजेक्टिव बता दें, लेकिन उसके पहले कोई है आपके पास दो चार लाइनें जो आप सुना सकते हैं, जो हम हमेशा आपके इर्द गिर्द रहती हैं. तो कोई तो आपके पास ऐसा कोई मुहावरा, कोई ऐसी वाक्या कहानी किससे जो
नहीं,
चार
नहीं,
चार
नहीं,
लाइनों में आप बता सके, कल के मैच को
नहीं,
डिफाइन कर सके.
देखिए, दुबई में क्रिकेट का होगा धमाल, इंडिया शायद कर दे
नहीं
कमाल.
नहीं फिर से, दुबई में होता क्रिकेट धमाल.
दुबई में होगा फाइनल का धमाल, इंडिया शायद कर दे थोड़ा सा कमाल. क्रिकेट है क्या खेल रोमांच का, और इसीलिए everyone is extremely excited about the finals. So it's going to be good. धमाल कमाल तो definitely होगा, and I really wish India wins.
ये जरूर अभी फॉरवर्ड किया जाएगा व्हाट्सएप पर. बट ऑफ कोर्स वन एडजेक्टिव, दैट वन एक्सप्लोसिव एडजेक्टिव फॉर दिस गेम, perhaps in Marathi, perhaps in Hindi and English, that comes to your head for the big final. Of course, everybody would be looking at this one with tremendous anticipation, that energy and enthusiasm. So there you go.
देखिए फॉर एवरीवन क्रिकेट के खेल में होता है बड़ा रोमांच, इसीलिए किसी को भी जीतने का होता है चांस. इट्स गोइंग टू बी अ झिंग झिंग झिंगाट फाइनल फॉर एवरीवन. दैट्स व्हाट आई वुड से.
Whoa. So that's one word for tomorrow's game.
I think it's time for Blues to cut the wings of the flying kiwis. Is what I'm hoping. So hopefully it does happen.
Yeah. Haridev, if you have to give headline for tomorrow's game, it would be.
Well, I really hope. I mean, I really hope it doesn't go down to the wire. But I have a funny feeling it may go down to the wire. So it's going to be a thriller. A thriller in Dubai. I mean, that's what I feel. It's going to be a thrilling game. That's what I would say.
What a journey these two teams have had, and what journey we have had. We have been discussing, analyzing, dissecting, each and every game of this tournament. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so very, very much for your expert opinions, for the kind of study you do, the kind of passion and energy you show towards the game of sport, the game of cricket that we all love. And it's going to be a big one. We all be watching this one. Thank you so much for staying with us on the Free Press Journal Sports Desk. It was fantastic to chat with you and to know your opinion, and of course convey those to all our watchers, to our audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Ruth.
Thank
Cheers. Thank you. So big game coming up. India versus New Zealand. Two teams who deserve to be in the final are in the final. Their skill set may differ, but the strength of the spirit is absolutely intact. I'm certainly going to look forward to this game. I'm sure all of us are. A high voltage game in Dubai unfolding, and it's the final. What a season we have had, and what ICC Champions Trophy we have had, and it was fantastic to discuss all these games on the side, one by one, in this special edition of the ICC Champions Trophy with the sports desk of the FPJ. This is Pratham signing off.